All right, so we are live. I'm gonna just share this on my page quick, and then I will be ready to get going. I see Janie, she must be watching in. Hi Janie.
Yeah, she wasn't able to make it
She
in this
must be
time.
at work.
hmm hmm
All right, 2 seconds and we can get started here.
Excellent. Well, I'm excited. I'm
There
excited
it
to
is.
bring
How to find it.
some good value and some good information to everyone listening on your live here. I don't know. Do you usually expect a dozen or so, or are we expecting a couple dozen hundreds?
We get on the live part of it, we usually get it's like lower numbers,
Yeah, no worries.
20, 30-ish, but then everyone catches the replay.
Sure.
So we are live. We can get started now. So everyone, we are talking to Kyle today, and he is a real estate investor coming to you from Canada. So Kyle, can you go ahead and introduce yourself to everyone?
Sure, absolutely. Howdy, everyone. I made sure to wear my most Canadian shirt today, my lumberjack shirt. So live from Canada. My name is Kyle Dooland. I am founder of a couple companies, STR Properties being the one that's being highlighted today. But listen, I've got a lot up here that I want to share with you. So I'm going to let Andrea kind of guide the way. But we've been investing as foreign nationals, as Canadians in the US for over a handful of years now, and we actually got our debut in Cleveland. We got started like probably most of you listening. If you're real estate investors, we attended the free preview event, which led to a 2 or 3 day training, and then that led to some mentorship. Well, we actually did buy into the mentorship, and after we paid those big bucks and we got lots and lots of knowledge behind us and confidence, we decided to jump in. And we spent 9 months assessing the US as a whole. We were in Canada. It didn't matter if we jumped into New York or Florida or Texas. We just wanted to go where the returns were the best. And we always, from the beginning, we knew that we wanted to buy and hold. We wanted to build a rental portfolio. And I mean, Ohio, Midwest, Cleveland was just phenomenal numbers, especially in comparison to what we saw in Canada. It blew us out of the water, and that's how we got started with a single-family home in Euclid. And now that same single-family home we still own today, and it got converted to our first short-term rental property in the U.S. So,
Wow.
yeah, it's quite the journey. I'm skipping like broad strokes here. We had a lot of fun, lots of quite the roller coaster ride. But in a nutshell, that's where we come from.
Okay. So when you were starting to look for your investment properties, I know you said you were kind of looking at across the map. So, and the numbers look really good in Cleveland market. Can you give a little bit more detail? Like what were you seeing in comparison to, in some other markets, or what were some of those other markets that you were looking at?
Oh, we were literally looking everywhere. And so in comparison, probably most people on the call don't know this, but in Canada, we're talking about a 3-4 cap market. The minute you're in some kind of metro area, like say Montreal or Ottawa, 3-4 cap. Now, does everyone know what a cap would be on the call? Probably not. I should maybe explain, right? So a cap rate is basically if you were to purchase a property all cash, what is the return on investment that property would give you after 1 year? So let's say you bought a single family home for $100,000 cash. You would expect to make $3,000 to $4,000 net after all expenses in your pocket at the end of the year. So that would represent a 3-4 cap. So in Canada, that's pretty much what we're looking at. It's not terribly exciting. In the US, on average, if you look at the US as a whole, you will have some 2, 3, 4 cap markets like California, for example, or so forth. But on average in the US, you're in this 6 to 8 cap range. But there are other markets like the Midwest and Cleveland where the average isn't 6 to 8, it's more 8 to 10. 8 to 12, even if you start going
Mhm.
into inner city and maybe a little bit rougher areas and so forth. So it's already double what we can find elsewhere, or triple when you actually get good, or even better. So that's really, really very attractive to buy and hold investors looking in from the outside.
Okay. Okay, so you've actually been here. I've worked with some investors who've never even set a foot down in the US, let alone in Cleveland. So, and you kind of touched on a little bit, so you're familiar kind of the makeup of how Cleveland is in that inner city. So, being that you have actually touched down here and a little more familiar with the markets, how do you feel about that inner city area?
It's case by case, and these areas do develop. They do get better. They have been getting tremendously better over the last 6 years. Tremendously, my goodness! The first times we came, there's a lot of areas we just wouldn't get out of the car. Now, I guess we've gotten better socializing and communicating with you locals. But no, it has cleaned up tremendously in the last 6 years. And for us, so long as our management team is comfortable managing, we're comfortable buying. It's as simple as that. We landed now we have management that we trust, and works extremely well. But we didn't start like that. Our first year of investing had trials and tribulations. I mean, between contractors and property managers, I mean, we brought a bunch of people to court for shady business. But once you find your team that you can really lean on and rely on, then it becomes a lot easier moving forward.
Okay, I'm glad you said that word team, because I always tell people that you really need to build that team,
Yeah.
that group of people that you can rely on.
Mhm.
So let's kind of touch on a little bit on this Airbnb. What made you, or what did you like about the Airbnb concept?
How all this started, well, there's a couple of things that made this happen. So first of all, being Canadian and us not having a like citizenship in the U.S., we were only limited to 6 months a year in the U.S. And
Mm,
usually we like to spend about 4 of those months in Cleveland, and the other 2 in Florida or so forth, and the rest abroad or in Canada. And so basically there was half the year that we weren't in the US. And so when we were in Canada, we're like, okay, we can do this business remotely, but how about we focus something on something a little bit closer to home? But the properties are
mm,
so expensive here. How do we make it work? So that's one thing. Now, STR Properties is a short-term rental management company. So we actually partner with property owners, people who have already done the hard work, if you will, of putting all that big down payment and getting into those hundreds of thousands of dollar mortgages for single family homes or duplexes. It's crazy, crazy. And we go in there and we say, hey, look, how about we work together and we increase your cash flow? And of course, we'll take a percentage as well. But bottom line, we're increasing your cash flow. So why don't you convert some of your long-term rentals to short-term rentals with us? So we're creating that win-win situation. Next is Janie, all right, my partner and now wife. She's the spark, she's the vision, she's the reason we started all these companies. And in real estate to begin with, she's a firecracker. But Janie, one of her big reasons for being an entrepreneur and for having all these aspirations is her desire to travel. And
mm.
through the years, we discovered Airbnb as a fantastic way to travel, to have great accommodations. If you're sharing accommodations, you meet some great people along the way. But it's just such an affordable way to travel that it just made sense to be part of that community, both as a guest and then as a host. We were very familiar with it, and we traveled the world on Airbnb. I mean, just a couple months ago, it sounds a little crazy with COVID, but just a couple of months ago, we were in China, and we were in an Airbnb there, and then we went to Thailand for our 2 month honeymoon, and we used a bit of timeshares, a bit of Airbnbs. But I mean, Airbnb is a part of our travel habits, and we love it.
So wait, see, make sure I caught this right, right? So you're saying that you don't, someone could actually start kind of like a management company and not even have to own a piece of real estate, and you can then take that management company and run an Airbnb service through someone else's properties.
You most definitely could. It's what we did. And there's a lot of different ways you can go about it. There's the rental arbitrage model, for example, where you actually rent properties, and then with the understanding that the owner is okay with it and knows what's happening, then you short-term rent it, and they get their rent, and you keep the spread. That's the rental arbitrage model. Or you can do the pure management company, which is 99% what we do, which is basically you just partner with the owner and you do some kind of profit split. Now, it's important to know that if you want to do well in anything, you have to treat it like a business. You really have to do it well, outperform the competition, have your systems, your team and so forth. So yes, anybody can do it, and yes, anyone can start, but I'm telling him, speaking from experience, it's not just if you want to do great, you're going to have to put some effort into it. So for example, there's, multi-channel listings, right? Are you only on Airbnb? Or are you tapping into all the other channels, booking.com, VRBO, Mr. B&B, all those other ones, right? There's hundreds at this point of different platforms. And how do you make sure that when you have a booking on one platform, it doesn't create a conflict or a double booking with another platform? So those kind of services are not cheap. And so there's that. There's guest communication, right? If you have one property, it's not too difficult to manage all the hello, how are you doing? Why are you coming to town? And, pre-vetting. And then when they're there, where's the toilet paper or where's the light switch? With one property, it's fine. But you think about having 2, 4, 5, 10, 50, 100, it's not a one-person show anymore. So that's really where we shine. We put in the systems to accommodate any number of properties. We've got the 24/7 guest communication service and so forth. So there's a lot to it. But if someone likes the guest communication side of things, if someone likes staging properties, if someone likes real estate and travel, it's probably something that would interest them.
So I had the pleasure of touring your Airbnb over in Euclid, Ohio. And it was just amazing to see on a regular street in Euclid, Ohio. You would never even know that this house that looks like every other house on the street is an Airbnb. So one question, if people that are on here, if you're familiar with Euclid, it's kind of, it's a city. So I would say it's a pretty large city, but it's not necessarily a destination city.
Good God, no.
So who would come and stay at an Airbnb in Euclid? Like, how do you fill that vacancy over there?
Yeah, that's where we shine, really. There's so many factors you can play on. You can target specific people, but the fact that we're in Cleveland or a suburb of Cleveland really helps. I mean, Cleveland, the Cleveland Clinic, rock and roll capital of the world. You got 3 major sports teams. Like, there are people traveling to and from Cleveland. So it's not a holiday destination for most people, but it is a destination for a lot of people. There is a lot of going back and forth. But Euclid specifically, people travel, relatives travel. We had people who were attending funerals that came from Texas. We had people from China who were attending a yo-yo competition. There were business travelers from Minnesota who were just looking for an affordable room to rent. The reasons are so varied, but I would say that the Cleveland Clinic and the sports teams does attract some good clientele in a non-COVID environment.
Oh, true. How has that impacted your business since that?
Yeah, it certainly has impacted. I can't say it hasn't, but we just had to pivot. We just had to adapt rather than target day-to-day or nightly rentals. We just converted and favored weeklies and now even monthly rentals. So we don't have too many cleanings happening. If someone were to be infected and you don't know, right, you want to make sure the property stays empty for a couple of days, and then the cleaning team comes in and takes extra precautions with the whole 9 yards. So yes, it has impacted it. Yes, revenues have decreased to what we're used to, but I mean, it's a wave. We're ready for it now. We're stronger than ever because of COVID, which I love, right? It's usually in the times of crisis that you get stronger or you die. And I don't. I'm not in it to die, so that just means I'm getting stronger.
So, would you say that having an Airbnb is more lucrative than having just a traditional rental?
Yes. If managed professionally, if managed well, absolutely. And when I mean managed well, I mean you need to really make sure that you are super host or getting to those preferred partner statuses on the platforms. And not so much for the badge, not so much for the perks that it gives, but for the social recognition and for you to be always pushing yourself to go above and beyond as a host. Like, what are you promising, and then what are you over delivering on, right? We
Mm-hmm.
love to give complimentary beverages to all of our guests. All right, that's not something you would expect from most people, and yet they go there and like, oh wow, like how much is that, or is that for me? Well, yeah, it's for you. Thank you for coming to our place, and if you like it, be sure to book again, tell your friends, and so that 5-star review and that excellent service, over time is going to translate to just increased visibility, increased reviews, increased booking, increased revenue. But let me just throw some wow numbers in there, I guess. If you do it well, and I'm saying you're in the top 1% of hosts out there, you can expect to double the income of a property. So let's say that that property in Euclid, we did have it rented previously for 1150 to 1200 a month. And in the very first summer that we put that on Airbnb, we were bringing in over 2500 a month. Okay, so we doubled the income by converting it to short term. Now, of course, we're the
Wow.
owners. We're the owners ourselves, so we didn't pay a management company. So if you were to have a management company, right, think about doubling the income and then paying the management company, but you're still making a nice big upspread on the difference as the owner. That's the goal. Basically, when we consider and we discuss a property and a potential partner, we look at the market reports. We look to see what the market is doing. We pull the back office data of these channels, Booking.com, VRBO, Airbnb, and we can predict pretty closely 12 months in the future what you can expect out of your property. So someone just gives us their address, with the number of bedrooms, we can look at comparable short-term rentals in the area and hotels and so forth, and we can say, look, with your property in your area, it looks like we can satisfy our not a guarantee, but our reasonable expectation that we will bump your bottom line by 30%.
Okay. So that's how you're able to go into a market to determine if it would make sense as an Airbnb, looking at the metrics on the back end to see what kind of numbers that area is doing. Am I understanding that correctly?
It certainly helps. It helps. Like now we're so confident that we not overconfident, but what I mean is in our experience, no matter where the property is, we see big bumps in revenue. So
Okay.
in the many cities that we manage, it's been like that. And some of our cities are really remote, way more remote than what like Cleveland would be considered, or Euclid. And so, and to illustrate that point even further, we have a cabin in the woods and a barn in our portfolio. Okay, a 10-foot by 16-foot cabin in the woods. All right, no toilet, no running water. It's all manually pumped. Okay, and the
Oh
toilet, yeah, is an outhouse. Okay, maybe 50 feet away from the cabin, but it's gorgeous. It's right on the edge of the forest, by a little forest lake. Gorgeous. We love it there. We love it. We spend some time there ourselves because we love it so much. But it goes to show you, this property is an hour outside of a major metropolitan area, Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. Okay, and so that city has 300 people, and that includes the cows. Like it's such a small
my
city,
God.
and yet that cabin is a hit. Like people want to travel from their nearest metro area to the country to this experience, and I mean they pay the bucks. So it makes for a cabin, which like mice don't pay good rent, right? So we had to evict the mice. I'll put in a little elbow grease and put in a day bed in there and some nice cute little things, and and suddenly it's generating 4, 5, 600 a month.
Oh, wow. That is amazing. People always, they see it on TV and they're thinking like, oh, Airbnb. But I do want to express the level of management that comes with it, even more management than a traditional rental.
A lot more.
And I know when we talked before, it was like you had a backup to the backup to the backup. Can you just touch on that? Because I don't want people to get the impression that it's like, oh, flip of a switch and it's just real easy to do. Can you just talk a little bit more about the management piece that comes with it, all of this?
Yep, yeah, absolutely. If you're not outsourcing to a company that specializes in it, just at every turn you want to ask yourself, okay, what if that happened? All right, and who's on it? And if that person doesn't pick up or is unavailable, who's on it? And it's as silly as, well, it ran out of toilet paper for some reason. God knows we stocked the place, but you run out of toilet paper. Who is going to go bring some toilet paper, right? And if that person's not available, or if it's not you, or if you don't want to, I hope you don't want to, who's their backup, right? So at least two backups. And another big thing is keys. Keys, okay? So we don't have any keys. Even the cabin doesn't have a key. But keys can be lost. Keys can be stolen. Keys can be copied. Keys are just bad news bears. So we highly, highly recommend electronic locks. Okay, they can either be Wi-Fi connected or not, but some kind of electronic access so that keys don't, are not an issue. But even those e-locks can run out of juice, can run out of power. So what's the backup, right? Where's the backup key, and where's the backup key to the backup key? So you'll learn over time to have your backups. They're kind of important.
So if someone wanted to start doing an Airbnb, they could reach out to your company and you would help them manage all of this?
Yes, absolutely. We actually have two programs. We have one program that is specifically for investors who want complete hands-off. If we're in one of those cities that you're in, then we can take it on. If we're not in one of those cities, we can definitely assist in other ways. We can just do the full package, as we like to call it. So that's one side, that's for investors. And we're actually launching this year. It should have been in April, but COVID delayed it. We're launching our homeowner program, the Key to Freedom program. So that's not launched yet, but we're really excited about this, how homeowners can either become investors or just buying your first home. Like, there's so many ways that you can include the short-term rental facet. And with STR Properties, with us, we have a program where we handhold you every step of the way to basically buy your dream home in 2 years or less and get out of debt in the process.
Oh, I love it. Definitely want to hear more about that.
Oh yeah, you just take a look on our feed and on our page and Facebook. Once that rolls out, it's going to make some big news, and then we'll be able to help anybody anywhere in the world. It's a completely limitless program that we're really excited. We're probably going to be launching it in Cleveland first, though, so that's whoop whoop. We're very excited about that because we're coming down to Cleveland as quickly as we can. We love Cleveland, love everything about it, the investment opportunities, the people, the music scene, everything. Cleveland is just awesome. People from Cleveland don't usually think so, but we're like, no, this is great. You gotta love it. and so yeah, we're coming to Cleveland as quickly as we can.
Okay. Is Airbnb or short-term rentals the only type of real estate or that you invest in, or the type of investing that you do?
Oh, good God, no. We started, as I mentioned, about a handful of years ago with residential properties. And in our first year, we acquired 9 doors in our first year. So after the mentorship and studying the US and finally deciding that we were going to do it, we started in Cleveland. In our first year, we bought 9, starting with $39,000. We bought it, renovated, refinanced, and cashed out our money and did it again and again and again. And over the years, our confidence grew, our networks grew, and everything grew. And so we were starting to look at larger and larger assets. So from small multiplexes and then growing to mobile home parks even. So just today, I placed an offer and I'm in deep in negotiations with a pretty sweet mobile home park in Michigan, 21 lots, fully occupied, bringing in some serious cash flow. And who knows, we might be putting a couple short-term rentals in there too once we get a vacancy. But no, short-term rentals is just something else we do. It's just another diversification of our, they say you need 7 streams of income, right? In our day and age, you need money coming in from 7 sources. So, STR is one of them. Our residential is one, our mobile homes are another, and it's important.
Yes, the mobile home, another interesting point that people have always have a lot of interest in, just because it's interesting. Like mobile homes, who wants to live in a mobile home? And I've kind of done some research on this as well. And it can become very lucrative in terms of just either owning the land that the mobile park, that these mobile homes sit on, or owning the units themselves and then renting those out. So definitely want to get more information on that. And then you guys also do some fix and flip projects. Now, do you have any just traditional straight rentals, or have you kind of converted everything to like the short-term rentals?
No, we keep it diversified. And to be honest, our long-term tenants have been there since the beginning. We have very, very low turnover. Because we typically like to do really good work in our rehabs and cater to the top end of the market. So better quality tenants tend to stay longer. So we have very little turnover. Once they turn over, we do sit down and think, okay, well, is this the best location to do a short-term rental? And we make that decision on a case-by-case basis. But no, we're not going to kick anybody out to convert it. And our personal philosophy.
Okay. So a lot of people want to get started investing in real estate. They don't know where to get started, or just afraid, maybe because they have limited resources, limited amount of money to get started. And then they just kind of get stuck and don't do anything. Can you provide any tips for them on how they should get started?
Absolutely. It's funny you ask that, because we get asked that question so many times. I mean, we do events, we do webinars, we do lives, we're very much out there, and we're kind of known in Canada as one of those, okay, go to these people to learn how to invest in real estate, and specifically US real estate. And so many people ask us that exact question. Okay, I want to get started, I've got limited capital, and how do I make sure that after I buy that first one, I'm not stuck and I can't keep going, right? And so that's exactly the reason why we developed our Key to Freedom program with STR Properties. It's exactly that. It's the hand-holding process, actually using short-term rentals to buy that first property. And that first property can be your primary residence, your personal residence, or an investment property. It can work for both. And actually, there is a way to house hack and do them at the same time. So we're kind of tailoring the program to first-time real estate buyers, not first-time home buyers necessarily, not first-time real estate investor buyers, but both. And we're really, really excited about this, because in 2 years, we're confident that we can deliver on the promise that you can get out of debt, buy your first dream home, not use any of your money to do it, okay, in 2 years or less, and hopefully have that property pay for itself. And when you're out of town, other people are paying for your vacation.
I like the sound.
Pretty sweet deal.
So,
You're bit.
that is getting. Sorry, is there a dollar amount?
Not yet, actually, not yet. We're working through the different. You were breaking up there, so I don't know if all I heard was dollar amount. So I'm thinking you were asking how much was the program. We're still fine tuning the numbers on the price itself, but we want to make it affordable. That's the whole point. We kind of have it's a 5-step process to get there in 2 years. And so if someone wants to come in for the full package, it's going to be a certain amount. But if that's too much for them, we're even dialing it down just so that they do the first step. And the first step is going to be basically a fifth of the price just to get them started, to start getting them some extra money right now, real quick. And even if we've got answers to all the solutions, all the problems. And we're so open. We understand the struggle of people who are getting started with limited capital. I mean, think of it. We paid basically on credit cards a guru the sum of $100,000 US, okay, to learn what our foundations to get started. So we started at negative 100,000 in the hole, okay, on credit cards.
Wow.
All right, and so we understand how stressful it could be to start in real estate from a negative position. And we've gained so much experience, so much confidence, and so many people along the way that help this program at key points where it is completely possible to get out of debt and buy your home with none of your money in 2 years or less.
Wow. I love it, love it, love it. So is there anything that you want to share with everyone that maybe I didn't ask you about that you think is important?
Oh my goodness, I've got so much to share. So much to share, which is why we actually have a Key to Freedom call that we are going to be launching in the next month. So once a month, we are going to be going on a webinar format like this and have people ask their questions, and we're going to give some life hacks. Really, people getting started love hacks, right? They love cheats, shortcuts. So every month we're going to give one hack, one trick, so to pay less, buy more, invest more, and just live more. That's really what we're trying to do. So every month we're going to have a call, the Key to Freedom call. But other than that, basically just reach out to people who are doing it, who are doing what you want, and surround yourself with people who are going to help you. Often it's not your closest friends and family, unfortunately. If those people are dragging you down or pulling you back, you're going to have to put some walls up. You're going to have to protect yourself, because at the end of the day, it's your choice, it's your life, and it's your dreams, and no one's going to go get them for you. So at least surround yourself with people who are successful. Get yourself a coach, get yourself a mentor, and ideally put your money to work as quickly as possible. The younger you are, the more time you have to compound your investing. Oh my goodness, it's so easy. If you're starting off at 20, 25 years old, especially, I'm catering to the younger because they're the ones who don't hear this often enough. And you can start at any age, but if you just start at 20, I mean, I did videos on this on Facebook. If you just put $10,000 in a solid investment vehicle when you're 20 years old, by the time you retire, it's become $1 million. All right, and that's one investment that you did once. It's insane, the power of compounding when you start young and you put it in an investment vehicle that actually is interesting. And so that's the best advice I can give, other than surround yourself with people who are going to help you get there. And of course, if short-term rentals is at all interesting on the investing or the homeowner side, our website's there for you. Just reach out, str-properties.com.
str-properties.com.
Yep, that's right.
And can they find you on social media at all?
Yep. Again, we do a lot of things. So for short-term rentals, we do have a Facebook page called STR Properties. You can definitely go check that out. Or you can go on Facebook. We have another page that's more general. It's not just short-term rentals, but if you want to get to know what Janie and I are up to, what our adventures has been about, we're very active. We post a lot of everything we do. And so that's the Now for Tomorrow Club. So at Now for Tomorrow Club, it's called Canada US Real Estate Investing. That's it's a page and a group. We got a lot going on social media as well. But just find us. STR Properties or Now for Tomorrow Club.
Wonderful, wonderful. All right. Well, thank you for joining us and willing to share with us this evening. I definitely appreciate you.
I appreciate you.
Thank you all. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out to Kyle and Janie. She couldn't join us today, but they are both very open, very nice. I'm sure will help guide you through the process and let you into their world of real estate. And thank you again, and we will see you soon.
Thank you. Anytime.
All right.